glove box light. I mean a place for a light that ain't got no bulb in it. Get that back. That thing's sitting there purring like a kitten. That old motor was locked up when I first started fooling with it, but it's been sitting up for a long time, but boy, it runs good. I'm proud of it. Some folks wouldn't be, but I am. I gotta tag it and get insurance on it. Got the seats and everything. For the back seat out of it, I've got some floorboard work to do. In the trunk too. Most of the seats. Got a whole bunch of stuff left to do. Just having to work on it a little bit at a time. Anyway, there it is. The hood. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more work on it, I believe. Really not holding it up as good as I thought it would. But I may have to do some. I've got this. I may have to move that down a little bit, one more notch. Well, anyway, getting a little bit done. All right, talk to y'all later. Bye. All right, as you can see, I'm working on my 49 again. And I've already got some of this done. There's several videos out there showing how to pull the radiator. There's 8 bolts here, 4 on each side. Now, 2 of them, well, one of them holds the radiator, one of them holds the horn, but there's 2 bolts in the horn. So all of that had to come loose. I wished I'd videoed that too, but I didn't. Pulling the radiator on this one was a pretty good chore. Not necessarily the bolts come out real easy, but the hoses, no way they were going to cooperate. And I got to replace them anyway. But I've got that much of it done. I don't know. Let's see how much interference that light's going to have. Sometimes they pitch a fit, and that one's a pitch and a fit. See if that'll help. That's better. But like I said, the radiator now, it's heavy. I've got it over there, and I'll video maybe putting it back together. But I'm changing the water pump's what I'm doing. That water pump, just as quiet as it can be, but it was leaking, and come to find out, the water pump itself wasn't leaking. It was the gasket back behind the water pump. I've already, excuse me. That's my compressor. We'll shut off in a minute. I've already had this off, but I want to stick it back on because it's just 3 volts. One over here, one over here, one at the bottom. Well, 1, 2, 3. Two right here on the side. Third one down here. Oh, there's something right here. There's 4. Too short. Take the rest of this. There's 4 volts that hold the water pump on. I have a new one here. This is going to go on like that. You can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4. This one has got an extra vent here that one don't have, but I'm figuring it's probably for a newer model. Because from 49 to 52, they are all the same. But a lot of times they will make it to fit a 53 or 54 because the motors are pretty close to the same. But these 4 bolts, and I'll go ahead and take them back out again. I wanted to do that because sometimes these things are supposed to take an hour or so. Sometimes they'll take 2 hours or so. Still got one more down here. Anyway, there are 4 of them to take that off. You can see the back side of it was actually leaking down here, where it's clean. The gasket was what the problem was, but it don't matter. I'm going to go ahead and replace that whole thing. That bearing right there is just as smooth as it can be, but there's a little bit of slack in it. So I'm going to go ahead and replace it, the whole thing. And I started cleaning it up. Finally, half hour later, like them SpongeBob things. You know, I've been tasting antifreeze for over 50 years and never have acquired a taste for it. Now plug it so I don't reach down there and turn it on and have it jump on me. I did that here a while back and it eat up a pair of britches and like to eat me up too. You can certainly get hurt doing this stuff right quick. Well, again, I have got something out of my toolbox and I put it back. I don't know where's that. Hard to believe. A lot of rust. That thing takes a huge belt. And I've got to get one. All right, this one still works. But it's, like me, it's ragged around the edges. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's the belt. You can tell right there where it's beat up. The rest of it's pretty good shape. And then where I'm gonna go up today when I get everything cleaned up, maybe get that motor back on. I'll go see, can I find one or get one ordered? I don't think they're gonna have one. But that's, and I'll probably run out of time on my camera because I ain't emptied that thing. I got a new, I'm gonna call it a GoPro, but it ain't, but it's just like a GoPro. Set for Christmas. My wife got them for me. So I'll be set up. Bad news is, when we got it in, I took it over to my son to let him set it up for me, because you got to do a lot of stuff to that before you use it. And I took it over there, and he was working on it, and I heard him say, well, crap. That's famous for me and them both. Well, that fell down in there. Ain't nothing I can do about that, I don't reckon. It'll get cut up in little bitty pieces and go right on through there, I bet. That right there is gonna have to dry before I do anything else. But anyway, get back to my new camera stuff that I got. They got me, my wife got me that, a bunch of what they call accessories to go with it. And when my son was setting it up, I heard him say that, and I looked over at it. Just kicked off. But that's what I'm doing. It may be out of time. I got to go over and empty it. But these 8 bolts right here, 1, 2, 3, and there's one more down there. 2 of them hold a horn on. Same thing on both sides. Can't see because of that light, but same thing on each side. There's the radiator. And the radiator, as far as I know, don't leak. It probably will now, because a while ago, I thought that was plastic. It ain't. That's all made on there. So I think I'm going to have to solder that, which that ain't no big deal. But anyway, that's where I'm at. So I thought I'd video that part of it. I don't know how much time I've got, so I may run out of time before I get through with this. But I have got the water pump back on. And it went on very nicely. Looks good. Got a little rust where it's cold inside this shop. Anyway, I got that back on, so we're good there. I pulled the thermostat out of the housing because it looked like it was leaking just a little bit, so I want to go ahead and replace it. But I want to show you something. I want you to look at the workmanship that went into things in 1949. I would be willing to bet this is factory. I've not looked at numbers or anything, but I would be willing to bet you that that right there is factory. Put my glasses back on where I can see. But I want you to look at the workmanship in that. How that's made. I don't know if you can tell much about it, just the way it is right there. That's going back in. I'm not going to replace that. You couldn't buy another one like that if you wanted to. And it's working good anyway. But there is a hinge. See if I can get over here where you can see it. There is a hinge there. And this thermocoupler right here, when it heats up, of course it pulls that down, opens that up. But it's even got a bearing in the back side of it. I don't know if you see that or not. But inside it, right there, I want you to look. There is a wheel or bearing or whatever you want to call it. No, you can't buy that anymore. That amazes me of how things have changed so much over the years. I've replaced hundreds of thermostats, and I've never seen one like that. I'm pretty sure because that is factory. And I don't think that's ever been changed. But it is going back in there. But anyway, I wanted to share that. That is something else to me, to have the factory thermostat. I have not touched the carburetor. I mean, it runs and idles and everything. I say I hadn't touched it. I adjusted the air on it, but I haven't torn into it or anything. Of course, I put a fuel pump in it. I just shared that a while ago. But there's just so many amazing things about this vehicle that it just kind of makes you fall in love with the era. Not necessarily the car, but the era. When people took pride in what they did, companies took pride in what they did and built something to last as long as these old cars. And like I said, this one was parked. It was 20 years old, which was back then was considered to be an old car. And it had, I'm assuming it had 91 or 92,000 miles, whatever it's got on there now. And it was running. Because the engine was froze. Now, don't take me wrong. When I got it, it had been sitting there 50 years. So the engine was froze. And I got a concoction that I mix up and pour in old tractors and cars more heavy. And just let it sit. It takes it a little while if they're real bad. Now, this one wasn't bad. It sat maybe just a couple of days. I don't remember. But anyway, it broke loose. And then, of course, I put all new ignition wires and plugs and points and coil. I put all that new on it. And when I got done with that, I mean, I got it freed up. And there's no way to get a hold of the crankshaft on these things and put a wrench. They're still set up so you can crank them with hand crank. So I thought that was kind of cool too. I don't know when they quit that. But you couldn't get a hold of it to turn it over. I mean, I finally got I think a pipe wrench on it and got it broke loose. And but anyway, I tuned it up, of course, changed oil, everything in it, and it ran like a champ. I mean, it cranked, run good. It's been running good ever since. That's been over a year ago. I think I bought it in September of 21. I'd have to go back and look, but anyway, been over a year. And I've cranked that thing up and moved it around here more times than I got fingers and toes. Been inside the shop and out several times. Just doing little stuff to it as I could or had time to do it. But stuff like that just amazes me. This car is as old as I am. That's one reason I wanted a 49. That was 1949 was the year I was born. And the title on this thing, of course, is a one-owner title. Almost impossible to come by. I need to take some pictures of it. But anyway, it is a one-owner title. And this was made a month. This one was made in August of 49. I was born in July. So I'm actually 1 month older. But 49 was, I wanted it, like I said, mainly because of that. And I like the old cars. I like the body style. When they were clean and usable, lots of room, and they rode like they rode just as smooth as anything you'd ever want to sit in. But anyway, just wanted to share that. So it's old man, I'm signing off again. I'll talk to you later. Bye.